would vote against Medicare for all during the pandemic. The Democrats won the presidency, both houses. If the Democrats aren't for Medicare for all, does that mean we're being run by a big business, Wall Street, corporate, imperialist part? Really, they're just two heads of the same. So who would vote against Medicare for all during the pandemic? Well, let's see. Gene Kugar, Anna Kasparian, Sam Seder, Emil Vigilant.
If we have Medicare for all, it certainly would have made things a little bit easier, but I don't know that would have had a material difference. But we
what?
The premise, people voting against it. Now, your sense is that this is the most prominent issue amongst people, I guess presumably because we're in a pandemic. I don't know that it's any less pressing because we're in a pandemic. I think if we have Medicare for all, it certainly would have made things a little bit easier, but I don't know that would have had a material difference. But we just...
Sam Seder doesn't know if having Medicare for all during the pandemic would have made a material difference. So, you got COVID, you got all these sick people, and Sam Seder is saying that if we have a system where you're a citizen of the United States and you get sick, you walk into the hospital and they just take care of you, he doesn't know if that would have actually made the situation better. He doesn't know if that would have actually helped the pandemic. Who would vote against Medicare for all during the pandemic? Emma Vigilant, Sam Seder, maybe Anna and G. I don't know. But Emma and Sam, they are opposed to the ask. They are opposed to Medicare for all. They've been talking about it forever and ever, and you just heard them. He don't know if it would have made a material difference during the pandemic. How would universal health care not help Americans during a pandemic? The solution fits the problem. What's the problem? You got a bunch of sick people. Oh, okay, here's a solution. Everybody gets health care. He doesn't see how that's like a perfect fix. This pandemic moment, you don't waste, you never waste a good crisis. Medicare for all fits the pandemic thing absolutely perfectly. Let's hear him one more time. I can't believe my ears.
It's any less pressing because we're in a pandemic. I think if we have Medicare for all, it certainly would have made things a little bit easier, but I don't know that would have had a material difference. But we just tested the premise of whether
Brianna Gray had actually made a facial expression, and she let it go. And so, 3 hours he was getting yelled at. And he went on for about 30 seconds, and nobody was yelling at nobody. So I don't even... Sam Seder, Medicare for all would have made a huge difference during the pandemic. It still would make a huge difference. Just in the term of the culture, right? You got somebody sick and you give a shit about hey, why don't you just go to the hospital and get... Now, oh, you're sick, well, shit, I guess you're fucked. Just the culture. Just us giving a shit about one another. Sam Seder. Jesus Christ.